The clock's hands move against time. The metallic ticking echoes through the town, blending with the cold wind that weaves through the narrow streets. At the top of the tower, the ancient mechanism groans, its gears turning as if obeying an unseen force. Something is wrong. Fred watches the town's grand clock with narrowed eyes. The hands aren't just moving backward, they're accelerating. A shiver runs down his spine. Around him, the world seems to hesitate, as if teetering on the edge of an invisible collapse. He turns to his friends, but before he can speak, reality shifts. A shop sign, once modern, now displays an old-fashioned typeface. A festival poster, bright and colorful just moments ago, is gone vanished without a trace. Mystery Inc. has just arrived in the quiet town of Ravenshire, a place known for its colonial architecture and dark folklore. Built upon tales of alchemy and lost secrets, the town has always drawn curious tourists, captivated by the legend of the shadowed clock. According to the myth, a long-dead alchemist cursed the town's clock tower, and the day its hands reversed, time itself would never move forward again. Velma adjusts her glasses and reads an old informational plaque near the base of the tower. The weathered lettering tells the same tale. When the great clock stops, time will reset. Forever. The town seems normal, but something is unsettling about the way people move. Their actions feel too precise, as if caught in an endless loop. At a cafe near the square, a man folds his newspaper and, seconds later, opens it again to the same page. Across the street, a woman checks her wristwatch twice in a row, her expression growing more anxious each time. Oblivious to the tension, Shaggy and Scooby follow the scent of freshly baked bread leading into a small bakery. But the moment they step inside, something is wrong. Just seconds ago, the shelves were overflowing with warm loaves and pastries. Now, they are completely empty. They exchange confused glances. The smell of bread still lingers. The warmth of the oven is still in the air. But the food is gone. Across the square, a man in a long, dark coat stops beside Velma, staring up at the clock with an expression of grim recognition. Without turning, he mutters, "You're too late." The words hang in the air like a warning. Fred steps forward to question him, but before he can, a deep metallic groan shakes the square. The clock accelerates, its hands spinning backward faster and faster. The grinding of gears fills the air. Then, in an instant, the entire town flickers. Not like an electrical failure, like a glitch in reality. For a brief second, everything overlaps as if two versions of the town are struggling to exist at the same time. The streets, the buildings, even the people distorted and blurred together. Then, just as suddenly, it stops. Everything looks the same, almost. Velma notices something different about the plaque on the clock tower. Just moments ago, it read, "Constructed in 1847. Now, it says 1846. Daphne shivers. I don't think we're in the present anymore. The town is changing. Not suddenly, not in an obvious way, but slowly, subtly, like a story being rewritten while the characters are still inside it. Velma tightens her grip on her notebook, flipping to a blank page and jotting down notes furiously. Everything is moving backward. She scans the town square, watching as small, almost imperceptible details shift before her eyes. The street signs look older. The once modern storefronts now display antique lettering. Then, she notices something chilling a newspaper stand. The papers, stacked neatly just minutes ago, now show headlines from the 19th century. Velma steps closer, heart pounding, and pulls one from the top. The ink appears fresh, as if it was just printed. The front page story reads, "Ravenshire prepares for Grand Clock Tower unveiling minus 1,845. She flips through the pages. Every single article is from the past. Yesterday's newspaper, last week's, last month's, all gone. replaced by headlines from over a century ago. Behind her, Fred watches the clock tower with a growing sense of urgency. The hands haven't stopped moving. They continue their unnatural reversal, counting down towards something unknown. Then, he hears it. A soft rustling noise. Daphne was standing right beside him a second ago. Now, she's gone. His head snaps in every direction. Daphne? No response. Velma and Fred rush through the town square, calling her name. Shaggy and Scooby, still shaken from their strange experience in the bakery, join the search. But there's no sign of Daphne. The streets are empty, the people wandering aimlessly like actors in a play they don't realize they're trapped in. Finally, a voice. But it's not Daphne's. A woman in a Victorian-era dress steps out from an alleyway, her expression blank. "You shouldn't be here," she says in a hushed tone, her voice distant, hollow. Before they can ask her anything, a sound echoes through the street. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, heavy. Fred turns and freezes. At the far end of the cobblestone road stands a figure clad in armor. A medieval knight, complete with a polished breastplate and a towering lance, stands motionless, watching them. Velma grips Fred's sleeve. This isn't possible. Then, the knight moves. With a sudden thundering step, the metal-clad figure starts toward them. Shaggy lets out a strangled yelp. "Whoa, we should probably run now." No one argues. The gang turns and sprints down the twisting alleyways of Ravenshire, the knight's armored steps pounding behind them. As they run, the town around them keeps changing. Street lamps flicker and disappear. Wooden carts appear where modern cars once stood. The people, what few there were, vanish into doorways like shadows retreating into the walls. And then, Fred skids to a halt. Ahead of them, standing perfectly still in the dim glow of the street lamps, is Daphne. She is dressed differently. A Victorian-style gown, laced at the wrists and flowing to the ground. Her expression is eerily serene, her posture too perfect. Fred steps closer, relief flooding his face. "Daphne, we've been looking for you." She tilts her head slightly, eyes calm, unfamiliar. "I'm sorry, do I know you?" The words hit like ice. The gang stares in horror. Daphne doesn't recognize them. She looks past them as if they were strangers. The knight stops behind them, lowering his lance. The wind howls through the dark streets, carrying the distant chime of the clock tower, still counting backward. The air feels thicker, heavier. They are running out of time. Daphne's eyes remain blank, her expression serene yet unfamiliar. Fred takes a step forward, his voice careful. "Daphne, it's us. It's me, Fred. Velma, Shaggy, Scooby. Don't you remember?" She tilts her head slightly, studying him like a stranger at a train station. "I think you're mistaken," she says softly, her voice eerily polite. "I don't know you." Velma exchanges a worried glance with Fred. This isn't hypnosis. This isn't some illusion or trick of the mind. This is something worse. Shaggy lets out a nervous chuckle. "Oh, okay, guys. Joke's over. Daphne, you got us. Time to go home now, right?" Daphne simply blinks. "Home?" The word hangs in the air, cold and distant. And then a noise. The knight, still standing behind them, suddenly shifts. His lance tilts downward, ready to strike. Fred grabs Daphne's wrist and pulls her away just as the knight lunges forward. His heavy armor crashes against the cobblestone, sending echoes down the alleyway. "Run!" The gang bolts through the winding streets of Ravenshire. Daphne stumbling behind them, struggling to keep up. As they race past buildings, something terrifying happens. The town continues to change. Shadows stretch unnaturally down the walls. Signs that once read cafe now bear names in old looping script. The brick roads become uneven, the sidewalks crumbling into dirt paths. Fred pulls Daphne forward. "We're getting you out of here." but Daphne digs her heels into the ground, pulling away. No! I belong here. Her voice is not her own. Velma skids to a stop. She's been pulled into the past. If we don't fix this, she might not remember us at all. Scooby whimpers. Rut-do-re-do. Shaggy gulps. You mean, like, permanently? Velma nods grimly. We need to get to that clock tower. Now. Fred looks over his shoulder. The night is still coming. His metal boots thunder against the street, sparks flying with every step. He moves with the weight of history itself, unstoppable, unrelenting. They push forward. The clock tower looms above them, its great hands still spinning backward. The gears inside grind and shriek like the bones of something ancient waking up. Then a voice. You shouldn't be here. The gang stops dead in their tracks. A tall, hooded figure stands at the base of the clock tower, his face hidden in shadows. His presence is unnatural, as if he doesn't quite belong to this world. Fred steps forward. Who are you? The figure lifts his head slightly. The hood casts a long shadow over his face, but his voice is smooth. I am the keeper of the clock. Velma narrows her eyes. What's happening to this town? To time? The keeper exhales slowly. You are witnessing the past returning to reclaim what was lost. Shaggy throws up his hands. Yeah, cool. Maybe the past could reclaim someone else for once? The keeper doesn't move. His presence feels more like a memory than a person. Velma takes a step forward, her voice sharp. How do we stop this? The keeper finally looks at her. His expression is unreadable. Then, slowly, he lifts one hand and points upward to the clock. The message is clear. The answer is inside the tower. The gang doesn't hesitate. They push through the heavy doors of the tower and step inside. And instantly, the world around them shifts. The town vanishes. The streets disappear. The sound of the night's heavy footsteps fades into nothing. They are no longer in Ravenshire. They are somewhere else. The walls around them twist and turn, endless gears spinning in all directions. The floor is a massive, turning mechanism, moving beneath their feet. The air hums with energy. Fred clenches his fists. What is this place? Velma's breath catches in her throat. I think we're inside the clock itself. The realization hits all at once. They aren't just inside a building. They are inside time itself, and time is running out. The walls breathe, or at least, that's what it feels like. The gears shift, twisting around them in an endless rhythm. The ticking of the great clock isn't just sound, it's pulsing through the air, through the floor, through their bones. Fred steps cautiously forward, eyes scanning the massive rotating mechanisms around them. This isn't just a tower. It's something more. Velma adjusts her glasses. We're inside the heart of the clock. If it's been controlling time, this is where we stop it. Shaggy gulps, gripping Scooby's fur. Or, we could just leave it alone and hope for the best. Scooby nods rapidly. Rhea, let's roll. But before they can move, a new sound emerges. Not the gears, not the ticking. A whisper. It starts as a faint murmur, curling around the machinery like a creeping vine. Then, it grows. Voices overlapping, too many at once. Some distant, some urgent, some laughing. Fred clenches his fists. Who's there? The voices stop. For a second, there's only silence. Then a flicker. The walls shift. The golden gears disappear, replaced by wooden beams and stone. The intricate mechanisms melt away, leaving behind something else, a room. Velma turns in confusion. What just? A grand study. Candlelight flickering against old parchment. Shelves filled with ancient books. The smell of ink and fire? And standing in the center of it all, a man, dressed in a long dark coat, his silver-rimmed glasses glinting in the dim light. He's writing furiously, quill scratching against parchment. His lips move as if muttering to himself, but no sound escapes. Daphne gasps softly. Who is he? The man suddenly stops. He lifts his head slowly. His eyes, deep and knowing, land on them as if he's been expecting them all along. Then he smiles. Ah, you finally made it. Fred instinctively steps in front of the group. Who are you? The man folds his hands behind his back. A question too late, I'm afraid. Velma's mind races. This isn't just anyone. The books, the ink-stained fingers, the presence woven into the very fabric of this place. Her voice comes out in a whisper. You're the alchemist. The man raises a brow. I was, once. Shaggy throws up his hands. Great, we found the guy. Now, can you maybe fix whatever this is? The alchemist steps toward them, slow and deliberate. Fix? His voice is almost amused. There is nothing to fix. Fred tightens his jaw. You cursed this town. The alchemist tilts his head. No, I preserved it. The words hang heavy in the air. Velma shakes her head. That's impossible. You're saying... I gave Ravenshire what it wanted, he interrupts. Eternal existence, a place untouched by time. Fred's hands ball into fists. People are disappearing. Daphne, he gestures toward her. She doesn't even remember us. The alchemist exhales, as if explaining something tedious. Time does not erase. It simply rewinds. Velma steps forward, determined. Then we can stop it. The alchemist chuckles. You misunderstand. It's not about stopping time. It's about choosing where it starts again. Fred shakes his head. No, we end this. Now. The alchemist sighs. Ah, yes. Heroes. Always so certain. And then he raises a hand. The room shatters. The wooden walls burst apart, dissolving into streaks of golden light. The books, the desk, the candles gone. The gang is no longer in the study. They're back inside the clock. But it's different, darker. The gears move faster, grinding violently. The clock is reaching zero. Velma stumbles back. It's resetting. The alchemist's voice echoes all around them, no longer bound to a body. You cannot stop time. You can only choose how it begins. Fred grits his teeth. Not this time. He looks up at the massive spinning gears and makes a choice. Velma, how do we break it? She scans the room, then sees it. The central gear. The one that keeps everything moving. Velma's heart pounds. We have to stop the main mechanism before it resets completely. Fred nods. Then let's do it. But before they can move, the clock strikes. And everything collapses. Default telly moment, the clock strikes zero. The world implodes. Everything shatters time, space, reality itself. The golden gears collapse inward, spiraling into a void of nothingness. The gang is thrown into freefall, tumbling through darkness, weightless, directionless, then impact. The ground slams into them. But it's not the ground, it's wood. XT. Fred blinks. The void is gone. The gears are gone. The roaring of the collapsing clock is gone. Instead, he is standing inside a study. Not like before, this one is real. Dusty shelves. Stacks of books. A flickering oil lamp casting warm, dim light. The smell of old paper and ink. Velma groans as she pushes herself up. Where are we? Daphne is next to her, dazed but unharmed. Shaggy and Scooby groan from a heap in the corner. Fred steadies himself, his head still spinning, and then footsteps. A door creaks open. The alchemist enters. Only, he doesn't look like before. Gone is the spectral, otherworldly presence. The man standing before them now is human. His coat is slightly frayed. His hair is streaked with gray. His face is lined, tired, but his eyes are the same sharp, knowing, calculating. Velma's breath catches in her throat. He isn't a ghost. He isn't a legend. He's alive. Fred squares his shoulders. What is this? What did you do? The alchemist, no. The historian sighs, stepping forward and placing an old book onto the desk. I was hoping you wouldn't come this far. Velma narrows her eyes. You're not an alchemist, are you? The man gives a small, sad smile. Not in the way you think. Shaggy lifts a trembling hand. So, we're not trapped in some kind of time vortex, right? The historian leans on the desk. No, you were never in the past. You were in a memory. Daphne's face is pale. Then, why don't I remember you? The historian's expression darkens. Because the memory tried to erase you. A silence falls over the room. Fred folds his arms. Start talking. The historian takes a breath. Years ago, I was a researcher, an alchemist. I studied time, but not in the way scientists do. I studied how people remember time, how stories shape reality, how belief can bend what is real. He gestures to the bookshelves. Ravenshire is old, too old, and its people, they feared change. Velma pieces it together first. They didn't want to move forward. The historian nods, so they clung to the past. Harder than any town I'd ever seen. And one day, something strange happened. He picks up an old, weathered pocket watch from the desk. It isn't ticking. It never was. They stopped remembering. Entire years just vanished. The town became a loop. Events repeating. History rewriting itself over and over. No one noticed. No one questioned it. Fred's jaw tightens. So you took advantage of it. The historian shakes his head. No, I tried to fix it. I came here to uncover the truth. But the moment I started digging, I became part of it. Velma's eyes widen. The town absorbed you. The historian nods. And it tried to absorb you, too. Shaggy pales. Like permanently? The historian exhales. Yes. A deep, uneasy silence settles over the group. Daphne rubs her temples. So, how do we break it? The historian hesitates. There's only one way. He turns to the desk and opens a hidden compartment. Inside is a single brass key. The clock. You have to stop it. Fully. Not just pause it. Not just slow it down. Destroy it. Velma hesitates. But if we destroy the clock, won't the town be lost forever? The historian's eyes flicker. Yes. Shaggy throws up his hands. Oh, great. So, either we stay here forever, or we erase the whole town. Cool, cool. No pressure. Fred clenches his fists. We don't have a choice. He takes the key. The historian's face softens. Good luck. And then the walls tremble. A distant chime echoes through the study. Velma's eyes widen. The clock is resetting again. Fred grips the key. Then we end this. And the gang runs. The town is crumbling. The buildings flicker between centuries, shifting from modern brick to ancient timber. Street signs morph before their eyes, words appearing and disappearing. The air is thick, not with fog, but with time unraveling itself. Fred grips the brass key tightly as the gang sprints toward the clock tower. Every second counts. Above them, the clock hands spin wildly, gears grinding as if resisting their approach. The tower trembles, its structure groaning beneath the weight of a timeline collapsing. They reach the massive wooden doors, but they're sealed shut. Fred jams the key into the rusted lock. It doesn't turn. The town is fighting back. Velma scans the tower's entrance, her mind racing. There has to be another way in. Daphne points to a side passage, a narrow staircase spiraling up the side of the building. There. We climb. Without hesitation, they scale the stairs, the wind whipping around them. The world distorts, the town stretching and compressing as if trapped in a fractured mirror. The tower's highest window is open. One by one, they climb inside. The moment they step in, time slows. The clock chamber is enormous. Gears the size of buildings rotate above them, their golden teeth grinding against the passage of time itself. The pendulum swings sluggishly, as if drowning in molasses. At the center of it all, the main mechanism. A towering ancient construct of gears and cogs, its heart pulsing with an eerie golden light. Fred moves toward it. This is it. Velma studies the machinery. If we destroy the core, the loop breaks. Shaggy gulps. And if we don't, the clock shudders. The walls shift. For a brief second, they are no longer in the tower. They are in the past, the study. The streets of 1845, the grand opening of the clock tower. Townspeople gathered, their faces joyful, completely unaware of their impending prison. And then they are back. The time loop is desperate. Fred tightens his grip on the key. We end this now. He moves toward the central gear. The moment his hand touches it, the alchemist's voice echoes through the chamber. You cannot stop time. A shadow materializes in front of them. The historian, but distorted. A mere fragment of himself, trapped within the machine. His face is calm, but his voice is laced with warning. You do not understand what you are about to do. Fred glares at him. We understand just fine. The historian shakes his head. This town was not meant to move forward. Some things should stay forgotten. Velma steps beside Fred. That's not how time works. You can't live in the past forever. The historian's form glitches. His presence flickers, unstable. Fred doesn't hesitate. He drives the key into the clock's core. The reaction is instantaneous. The clock screams. The golden glow erupts outward, cascading through the gears, tearing them apart. The pendulum shatters, fragments dissolving into dust. The historian lets out a final shuddering breath. And then, everything stops. No ticking, no shifting, no time. For a moment, there is only silence. Then light. Blinding. All-consuming. When they awaken, the world is still. The clock tower stands, but the hands are frozen. The air is different, lighter. The weight of centuries lifted. The town is whole again. Modern. Real. Daphne gasps. I remember. Velma exhales. We did it. Shaggy looks around, dazed. So, no more nights? No more disappearing people? Fred nods, staring up at the motionless clock. No more loops. Scooby whines. Right about the historian? They turn, but he is gone. The study, the books, the memory of him, all erased. Velma frowns. Maybe he was never really here at all. Fred watches the sky. For the first time since they arrived, the sun is rising. The town is moving forward. They turn to leave, stepping into the new Ravenshire. But just as they pass the clock tower's doors, a faint clicking sound echoes behind them. They all freeze. The clock hand shifts by a single second. Fred exhales sharply. Shaggy groans. Oh, come on. Velma watches the tower for a long moment, her mind calculating. Then she simply smiles. Daphne raises a brow. You're not worried? Velma shrugs. Time is strange. Some mysteries we're not meant to solve. And with that, the Mystery Inc. crew walks away, leaving behind a town finally free from its past. Or so they think.